I don't trust my brain. Don't trust my brain at all. I used to trust it for years. I don't trust it anymore. It's not my truth. It's what the world pours in, and it's my beliefs, and it's all that other stuff, but I just never trust my brain. But I want to read something to you by Albert Einstein. I quote, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. I don't agree with that. Sorry, Albert, it sounds sexy, but I don't agree with you. There's no such thing as an intuitive mind. There is no such thing as an intuitive mind. This is where your intuition comes from. And then you might go to your computer and open it up and filter it through there. But what most of us are doing is we're walking around this world with our laptop on our head, and the wireless is turned off, so it's not connecting to our intuition. So we're living it from here, and there's nothing worse than living a life up here. I wrote a book recently called Dead Man Walking. You may as well be a corpse. There's very few other things that are worse in this life than living in your head. Maybe unless you're living in your head and also living in Idaho. But I'm sorry, I mean, you've been insulted once. Let's just do it again. And people who live in their head all the time, my heart goes out to you, and I don't mean that in a condescending way. You do not know what you're missing, yet you have an extraordinary gift to analyze, an extraordinary ability to look at life through this and use this effectively. But there is a cost to that. There's always a shadow side to the gift, in the same way that intuitive people that are completely intuitive and can't tap into the head are also being affected. I'll give you an example. And if you're wondering whether you're a heady person or a more soul-set person, as I call it, if you ask a lot of how questions, you live in your head a lot. And I had a client one day, and he kept saying, "Yeah, but McKernan, how do you do that? And how do you do this? And how do you do this?" And I just got really frustrated with him. And there is some compassion there. There's a lot of compassion there on occasions. But with my work, when you want to fight, I give you a hug. And when the day you want a hug, I'll kick you in the ass. And I was on the phone to him, and I said to him, and this just came randomly, so I'm sorry, but I just said, "Do you know how an orgasm works?" He goes, "Excuse me?" I said, "Do you know how an orgasm works? Do you know all of the breakdown, the chemical, the biology, how it all kind of happens?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Who gives a shit? You either want them or you don't want them. Who cares about how they work? Stop asking so many how questions. Just cut it out." If you're still not convinced, soul set. I want to read a quote from Steve Jobs. "The people in the Indian countryside don't use their intellect like we do. They use their intuition instead, and their intuition is far more developed than the rest of the world. Intuition is a very powerful thing, more powerful than intellect, in my opinion. That's had a big impact in my work. If you look deep enough, everybody from Oprah to Leonardo da Vinci to Bill Gates to Steve Jobs I've just talked about tap into intuition as a huge part of their work. Steve Jobs, I remember him being asked once, "Why don't you survey your clients and ask them what they want?" He said respectfully, he said, "They can't even conceive what's possible quite often." If he actually lived in his head, he'd be more focused saying, "Okay, what does the world want? What does the consumer want?" But his intuition support his creativity. His creativity.